Hello and welcome. My name is Emma.
I'm Miki.
In this presentation, we will be sharing a sequence of lessons from our unit for Year 1 and 2 students called I Am an Ecologist.
In our lessons, we'll identify our key focus concept, which is habitat. Also, we will mention two related concepts, ecosystem and adaptation, to ensure children have a fundamental basic scientific understanding for future learning. The river story provides a lens and launch for our two lessons, which will support students in considering the interconnectedness that exists between living creatures and environments, how the environment affects them and other creatures. It allows students to explore the relationship between animals that call the river home and their surroundings, and consider how this habitat supports their survival home. Also, our lessons are strongly connected with particular learning outcomes of level 1 and 2 biological science. Combine the science inquiry skills as well. Students pose and respond to questions, recall, sort, and represent their observations, and communicate their ideas to others. We will implement the STEAM approach as well.
Learning about habitats supports students' knowledge of biological science as they grow to understand the interconnectedness between living things and their environments. Additionally, it aids in deepening their understanding of the world around them and can cultivate values, attitudes, and beliefs of sustainability and stewardship, as knowledge and values are intrinsically linked. Creating these lessons, we looked at alternative conceptions that students might hold, which can act as a barrier to learning or engagement. Identifying these helps our planning and teaching. Research suggested that students often possess anthropomorphic views of animals thanks to television and picture books, attributing human characteristics, emotions, needs, and behaviours to animals. Despite seeing animals in this way, some Year 1 and 2 students have no conception of humans as animals. The literature suggested further confusion can arise regarding the classification of animals, as some students don't view invertebrates or aquatic species as animals. Additionally, students and sometimes teachers focus on differences rather than similarities between the classes, which results in a narrow and limited understanding of the world and all within. In teaching this unit, we must consider and respect different cultural and religious backgrounds which might shape conceptions. We must also be sensitive to emotions of our little learners when exploring man-made changes to habitats, such as within the river story, as they might feel overwhelmed and burdened with the weight of having to find solutions. We must provide opportunities for our students to love and understand the earth before we ask them to save it. We looked at potential challenges students might experience during the lessons, which helped inform our choices in regarding the structure and style of activities and assessments, so all learners are supported and extended. We shall explore how later in our presentation.
Our first lesson will show video to start our class. The Ranger class discussion allowing students to be engaged in class and find keywords together, such as habitat, needs meet, survivor. On this slide, you will find the materials required list along with potential focus questions. Before starting our hands-on activity, we will encourage students to recall and consider any animals we might find in a local river or any they found before, which connect with their authentic experience. In the process of creating animals with clay, teachers will go around ask some questions including what makes your animal unique? What does your animal need to survive? So we can facilitate their learning. As a professional, we should provide sufficient time and be patient to listen to children's explanations and thought as well.
My Habitat, My Home, as with our previous learning activity, is inquiry-based with a strong focus on actively constructing knowledge, as it sees students building understanding of the scientific concepts through the process of making and designing a healthy habitat for their clay animals. On this slide, you will find the materials required listed, along with potential focus questions. A Kahoot quiz is used to review and reinforce students' understanding and knowledge of habitats before students design and then make a suitable and healthy habitat for their animal. The driving question during this phase is, will this habitat help my animal to survive, and are its needs met? With the role of our teacher being to scaffold, facilitate, and observe student learning. The lesson ends with the sharing of findings as a class, specifically the differing needs of the animals and how their habitats support the animal survival. This learning experience considers and reflects a variety of general and cross-curriculum connections listed below. Additionally, this STEM lesson sees students engaging in engineering too. Creature Features, or Lesson 1, is the first of our STEM learning experiences. It follows on directly from the class exploration of a river story, with clear connections being made as students consider the animals that call the freshwater habitats of their rivers their home, while also exploring the key vocabulary and ideas associated with habitats. Lesson 2, My Habitat, My Home, sees students building upon the previous learning experience as they design and make a habitat to support the survival of their animal. We made considered choices with the sequencing of our activities to best support students in gaining understanding of the key concept of habitat. The lessons allow us to build upon students' prior knowledge and understandings while actively constructing and deepening their knowledge of habitats and animals, with the goal being to support students in considering the connections between living things and their environment. The two learning experiences explored within this sequence have the potential to stand alone, or alternatively can be embedded within a larger unit of work that would aid in deepening understanding and build further connections with their local environment, the community, and also the culture and history of our First Peoples of Australia, with the addition of excursions, incursions, or class-based learning activities listed on this slide.
The makerspace provides students an opportunity to develop and demonstrate 21st century skills while actively creating knowledge and building understanding of the scientific concepts through the process of making use of the makerspace approach, which is a part of inquiry-based learning. We focus on the student-centered way and provide active agents in their learning, while enhancing their motivations and developing a sense of ownership of their work, which refers to social learning theory. Also connected with Vygotsky's cultural historical theory, students are able to work with small groups collaboratively to investigate science inquiries. Besides, we ensure students will be actively involved in discussion and communicate their findings with peers, because the development of scientific concepts begin with a verbal definition. Furthermore, we also connect to modern skills and deeply developed children's concept of habitats and support further understandings, living creatures and their living environments. So based on the STEAM approach, we arrange making and hands-on activities for students to literally construct their own knowledge and understanding. And this approach combines science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, so students can have opportunity to apply all around knowledge. As teachers, we should consider gender inequality, including that some girls are not confident and encouraged to pursue fields of science and technology. The inclusion is an important element in STEAM fields of research, which combines the marker-based approach. It has the potential to boost the quality of the activity and engagement, as the diversity of participation enables greater aggregate creativity and reduce potential bias. 5E Murder is one example of inquiry-based learning approach. It promotes active learning. Students are involved in modern listening and readings. In our guided exploration, recording animals in a local environment, children can learn to ask questions focused on their observations, model teachers' behaviors, analyze the thought-provoking questions in order to think what they have learned understood, which will be helpful for them to apply into new situations and deepen their learning. Also, explain their thoughts and even confusion knowledge, so teachers can timely correct them and provide useful feedback, which allows students to review their own learning performance, as well as self-reflection. Students work collaboratively with peers to construct explanations, solve problems, plan and carry out their investigation. For assessing children's learning, we will keep timely observation and following up young learners group discussion to check their full understanding and catch any part of learning which can be extended more. Meanwhile, to shape our unit potentially correct students' alternative conceptions, students actually using science inquiry skills and process is preferable when assessing doing science. Teachers need to give time and space to explain their thinking and findings scientifically. Besides, for English as second language students, teacher will be providing timely help and feedback if it is language misunderstanding to ensure our class is more inclusive. Also, we decided to use Kahoot quiz to check their understanding and learning process, so that it can show clear insights about how will students learn and understand the concepts. For summative assignments, students will demonstrate their understanding of the key concepts about habitat with the design and creation of 3D clay, animal, and habitat that supports its survival, showing through their final product that they have considered that the needs are met of their animal. Ensure students' understanding based on our learning outcome process. Also, providing opportunities for them to use ICT to record and present their work, such as clay making, record on the whiteboard screen, and practice their oral explanation.
Differentiation was central in our planning of these lessons, and we believe should also be central in their delivery, starting with a positive and supportive learning environment. We applied a student-centered, strength-based approach to our 2 lessons. Formative assessment is used throughout to gain insight into our students' thinking, and we use data to inform and adapt our teaching and learning experiences accordingly. This allows us to support and extend each learner with responsive and flexible teaching and ensure the best outcomes for every student. We recognise that every classroom will consist of diversity of learners with differing strengths, interests, and needs. With an inquiry-based approach, the students' interests drive their learning. Furthermore, we used a multimodal approach to learning, teaching, and assessment to support all learning styles and ensure that there are multiple ways to access information and share their understandings. Our vision when designing this sequence was to create an authentic learning experiences that would facilitate and foster each of our learners in gaining conceptual understandings of habitat. We made considered choices with our STEM lessons, so they build upon student interest, curiosity, and knowledge with the careful and deliberate interweaving of the nature of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We hope this unit, as with all our future science and technology lessons, will support our students with the knowledge, skills, and understandings that enable them to step with confidence into their futures as ecologists, as biologists, the innovators of tomorrow, scientifically literate citizens, and capable, curious, and creative individuals of and for the 21st century.
Here's a reference list. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.